Yeah, maybe. All right, now call to order the October 3rd, 2024 meeting of the Trails and Greenways Committee for Newtown Township. Do roll call. Beth?
Terry McCarthy. Hello.
Present. Make sure to use your mics too.
Yes, sorry, microphone.
Here, home.
So Terry is here, Mark is out, Anthony is here, Beth is here, John Custer, you are here.
I'm here.
Joe Falcon,
Here.
Joe Kasusko is sick. Evan, you are here,
here.
and Delia is out.
All right, thank you. If we could ask for a moment of silence, please. All right, everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, first order is for approving the agenda for this meeting. Has everybody reviewed? If so, do I hear a motion to approve the agenda for today?
Moved.
Moved by Evan Pappas, second, Chair Anthony DiVincenzo. All those in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, hearing no opposed. Motion passes. Agenda is approved for today. Next item number 5, public comment for agenda items. And we do have a member of the public here today. Sir, would you like to make a statement or comment? Okay, thank you for joining us, though. Really appreciate it. Honestly, anytime someone from the community is coming in, and we hope that you enjoy the meeting and learn something about what our committee's doing. So, thank you. Okay, moving on then. No comments from the public. We're going to move on to the minutes. And we have the considering of approving the minutes from the previous meeting on September 5th, which was a long meeting with a lot of stuff, so it was very thorough. And do I hear a motion to approve the minutes from the previous meeting?
So moved.
Moved by member Custer. Second. Seconded by Terry McCarthy. All those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, no opposed. Motion passes to approve the minutes from the September 5th, 2024 meeting. We go on to the next one is number 7, the land development review. So there were embedded, drawings from the Boiron and update and everything. We already voted, obviously, on last time of the things that we were making our recommendations on. I do not have the form that they wanted, that the township has us use. So I have everything ready, but we're just going to see if he can get me a digital version of that form so I can actually fill it out to the proper liking and attach the things that we all discussed. So I don't think there's any actionable items here unless anyone else has in our committee had any other comments on it, because there's nothing really that changed in the documents that I saw that were sent over recently. Does anyone else have any comments or questions really?
Did you see the document they sent with the full plan?
The one that just came through?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think it changes our comments, but it was.
No, I
it was
didn't
good to
think it-
See what the full plan.
I don't think it changed our comments either. I did like like same thing, like that shows the full plan. It was kind of like the Veterans Boulevard one where we were talking about, not Veterans Boulevard, I'm sorry, the memorial, where they were showing like the larger scope of some of the future potential stuff. It was good for the context of how we were viewing things. But no, I agree. I don't think there's anything that changed what we were ultimately discussing in last meeting, and the recommendations for the sidewalks, the trails. I don't really think anything changed from it. It was nice just to see what the total plans were, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Developers and agents. Is that?
And I don't know if you read their response letter
Did
to,
not read that yet, no.
it was, I think from, I don't know if it was the township engineers comments or whoever, I forget who they were responding to, but one of the responses was that they were gonna do the sidewalk all the way down the Westchester Pike, so they're already planning on doing that. I mean, we should still include it in our comments.
Well,
but-
so what I'll do is then what I could do is modify the language to say, we understand that you're already planning on doing a portion of this and greatly appreciate that because that was going to be in our recommendations anyways.
I don't want to change what we voted on.
Yeah,
just leave
but that's what
it.
I'm saying. I just changed literally the way I write it. I'm still going to show it on the little markup and everything, but that makes sense.
Thank you.
All right. Good. Okay, so there's no actionable items on that today. Voting, we already voted on the stuff that we were going to recommend to the Board of Supervisors last meeting regarding it. No major changes, just additional context from the recent document sent over, which was good.
And I will get you that electronic document tomorrow morning.
Thank you very much. Yeah, because I mean, I'm working from home tomorrow. I should be able to knock out in a couple hours the full document with all the exhibits that we had, and that'll make it easy to get it onto the Board of Supervisors for whenever the next planned meeting is, when they ultimately have to make a vote on it.
Yeah, when are our comments due? When do we have to have them in by?
I'm sorry, can you say that?
When do we have to have our comments?
So when I asked that of Steve Neese last meeting, last month, it was like, I want to say it was like their next meeting for the supervisors was coming up, is it the 8th, maybe?
There's one on the 14th of October.
The 14th, okay. So basically, we would have to have it in before that. I don't want to wait that long because I'll forget details or something and just get it out, but yeah.
Okay.
If I have any issues with remembering any of the stuff, Mark Card did give me the minutes previously, so I was looking through all the notes, but I'll reach out to the group and see if you guys give me a fact check on it, maybe do a proofread or something. That way I don't miss anything. That gives us enough time, definitely, between now and the 14th for me to do it, the draft and then get it.
Like you said, the sooner the better, just
Yeah.
get it done.
Okay. So moving on to item 8, future land development review, nothing, I'm assuming then, because this is usually the spot where the township would plug in if there was something that they were expecting to get, like any preliminary information on another land development. It had been a very long time before the Boiron thing popped up, where we really had much for land development review. So this item might end up blank for, who knows? Or then we could get bombarded, just as I'm saying that, with a whole bunch, who knows? So then moving on to item 9, new business. First one, the e-bikes. So the last meeting that we had, as we said, yeah, we want to move forward. We agreed with it. Mark Carr and I had reviewed the initial survey questions that Joe had drafted. No changes or comments on that, and we wanted to push that through to the township to get that, figure out what method they want to use to actually get the survey out. So I don't know if you have an update, sir, about what the status of that is.
Yeah, Mr. Neese did not give me any update on that, so I will find out and circle back with that.
Okay. Yes.
Didn't we say last time that maybe you would share the questionnaire with all of us?
We did. Did I drop the ball?
That's
I
all-
did. No, no, you're right. We did.
It's no big deal, but just to,
Before when we're done in the meeting, remind me, I have my laptop open now. I'll pull it out from my email from Joe and just hit forward to the rest of the group.
everybody,
Yeah,
good, thank you.
Yeah, just remind me because I will forget.
Okay.
Thank you very much. All right, 9.2, possible action for the first steps of the trail map. Beth was nice enough to kind of pull together some stuff recently as well and send it out just pretty recently if you want to comment and go over some stuff.
Basically,
Mike,
I have copies of this for everyone too. I sent it via email because I was behind on it, but basically it's just different styles of waysides. So this would be more for, well, it could be a couple of different things. It could be for like the informational signs that we were looking to put in the meadow, like the interpretive stuff. You could also use some of these for if we want to do a kiosk, so like a trailhead type kiosk. So just different styles for you to look at. Basically, I went with the super basic. I called them and got a general quote for like a stand that has two posts holding it. There is either a fiberglass or a gel type panel that you can get. The big difference between the fiberglass and the gel tends to be a little bit better in UV, and they recommend it for southern states. Like in Pennsylvania, usually we go with fiberglass and they are a Pennsylvania company, the one that I was talking to, Paneer Graphics. We
What was the
could
name of the
go-
company?
Paneer Graphics. We could go with any other one. It's just, I know that particular business because I've had some dealings with them. And they are the easiest to find when you search. So I'm happy to do whatever, but basically fiberglass was $278 for the informational panel. Gel was $303, and that was for a 36 by 24 inch one. I told them we were looking for 5 because that's how many Meadow signs I have made up.
That's for the panel.
That's for the panel. The system that's holding the panel, it depends on the type of posts, if they're getting buried or if they're getting mounted to something above
Do
ground.
they do them or they just provide it and then that would be something that George's
Um,
group would actually install?
I would have to double check with that. I think they may offer installation. I did not get a quote on that price, though. $600 for the buried post, $675 for the mounted post. And then the panels themselves, some are frameless, some have a frame around it, some have a frame just on 2 sides. If there is a frame, that is slightly more expensive than the frameless version as far as the holder goes. The panel, though, because if it's frameless, needs to be a little bit stiffer, that price will go up. So I think ultimately they kind of even each other out. So basically, given the numbers they gave me, it's somewhere between $900 and $1,000 per panel
Yeah.
for if we're going with 5. I don't know if there's a group discount, which is kind of typical of what I've been seeing. I know you had talked about maybe doing something temporary because we were waiting to see if the township was going to come up with a graphic identity. The other part of all this is we still need graphics. And I don't know what the going rate is for an artist to do something like that. I'm going to estimate maybe $200 a panel. It's a complete guess. So, and I could see us or the township advertising saying like, hey, we're looking for this, and kind of accept bids, offers, whatever, to see how that goes. So, if we could get a grant or if we can get township funding for this, and I'm sure the township will have opinions about what type of stand they prefer, or what type of signage they prefer and stuff like that. So this is all just, I went with kind of the basic, here's a starting point for the costs, and it will vary, based on what we get.
I mean, I'm thinking that, we might end up, higher than that, just because of like the amount of hours involved and like typical hourly rates and stuff. Cause I'm thinking you're probably talking about, if you had a brand identity already, certain things like, and it's really mostly text and some basic photos. Yeah, you could probably knock one out in a couple days, but even that would take you over that would probably be like the $400 mark, even if it was just 2 days of work. So we're probably talking maybe even value design and installation cost, unless there's some like scalability where you're doing like a fairly standard sign where only minor things are changing, and then you could get some cost benefit where, yeah, the first one's $1,000 for the proof, and then beyond that, minor changes, it might be just a couple $100 per at that point.
Well, I don't think you want to put the cart before the horse. I think the first thing you have to do is determine what you're going to put on there. So I think the graphic designer comes before the signage, and then I don't know what the requirement is based off the value of the contract, but I'm assuming there has to be at least 3 bids, competitive bidding.
Depending on what the total price winds up being, if we start, for example, with 1 or 2 sample signs, and we keep the cost down, then we would not have to go through a formal
You
quote
know what the
bidding
threshold
process.
is
I would have to,
on dollars?
yeah. So there's up until, I'm gonna say it's about $9,000. You can purchase what you need to, as long as it meets certain requirements. Beyond that, you have to start getting 3 telephone quotes. But again, if we got 1 or 2 signs to start and make sure that it's doing what you want to do and it looks the way you want to look, I know from our end, we'd be comfortable with that. It sounds to me like the frame mechanism is something that you could always change the sign and the plate out
Yes.
if you needed to.
They do pop out. So like if it gets really bad, you could always replace it with something else. And even the unframed ones, you could unscrew it and put
Yeah.
a new one in there. So
So
there's
that gives me
options.
even more comfort in doing a small number and trying them and making sure that they're working. Because even I suspect even the insert is not unlike some of the signs that we've made in the parks, for other things. So I suspect we could,
I will say this company is what some of the national park sites go through. So it
Yeah.
is something I have experience with, and maintenance is just literally you use wax on it, like a boat wax or a fiberglass wax on for the gel or the fiberglass.
Mhm.
And then
Yeah, that makes sense.
it's just cleaning it with soap and water.
Yeah.
So it's pretty low key. You just need to get in a schedule to do that, but it is something.
and I do suspect that if you could share with me the information that you got, Beth, I suspect Public Works would be able to install them.
Okay.
So does that company that produces them offer in-house graphic design?
They offer, I think you have to come to them with like, here's the pieces and they will make it look pretty.
Yeah,
But we just, we have the words.
sure.
We just need to know
The
what,
content.
what the township wants it to look like. And then we need the artwork, and the artwork has kind of been the tripping point. And ideally, like if we can hire an artist that can put this in a digital file and keep it as like a vector or a TIFF or something like that, that would be perfect. Then we don't have to go through the design phase with the company. But I realize that becomes a little bit more specialized and may end up being more money.
Well, it sounds like we could keep a separate contract, especially as you said, Joe, like start with that and you have a separate contract that's definitely below the $9,000 mark to get the graphic design element in there. And then even with a certain number of signs, we might even be able to keep under that number for a separate contract and again, the township, so you're producing the plates, the base, and then the township can do the install with the posts and stuff.
Yeah.
So that kind of helps like break it up in a nice way where it's also the proper sequence would also help, so.
And George, there is one that has a sled base, so it can be moved and rearranged. And I don't know if that has any interest as like the Meadow may get restored or something like that, being able to move them easily, because it's just like a pole that goes down through the sled base. But I did not get a quote on that. He did say the more aluminum, the more it costs. So
Mhm.
I would assume because of that sled base, it would be a higher cost for the base.
Okay,
But-
if I could see the specifications
Yeah,
on them,
yeah.
that's something that I think we could really work with. The township was reaching out to the company that does some of the website work and some of the newsletter work. And I think they were going to talk to them about the sign design that they were talking about. I have a suspicion if we, again, wanted to try a couple samples, at minimum, we could do that for those couple samples, have the company do it and get something up. And that would be, if we could get something by the end of the year, then, we would look at next year, but it'd be nice to get something going,
Okay.
since you've done all that work for it.
Yeah, I agree. I think what we do is at least, I don't know if we need a motion tonight or not, but for you to explore a graphic designer. And then once we get the graphic designer, if we can do that, then we start with the lithograph of what that's gonna look like. And then next year, especially with our budget, we'll put in the money for the actual materials that are involved to put it together.
Yeah, we don't need a motion for research, so if it's just that, we don't. use-
Well, no, I would say next month, if you can get something next month or the month before, to hire someone, then we can make a motion to hire that person to do.
Oh, yeah, to vote in our next meeting.
Yes.
Okay, I thought you meant today.
No,
Yeah,
no,
yeah, yeah,
no.
no, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if I can
We
get
don't
you-
necessarily have the money in our
We
budget
don't,
right now.
well, no,
We have to
but
go
what
through
we
the
do is
supervisors.
make an official,
Ask.
like, yes, we're making an official ask now. This is what we want. Here's the stuff. We're handing it over. That is what we could do, yes.
So Beth, I can get you in touch with people that do this kind of work.
Okay, cool.
Just email you their contact info.
Sure, thank you.
Perfect.
And I mean, I have a pretty good idea of like what I think should be on the signs. I'm happy to talk to whoever about that if you like, what is that crazy thing you're talking about? Or whatever. So, yeah.
Okay,
Okay, cool. Let me just take those notes.
that's great. That's good. No, thank you. It feels good to kind of like get a plan a little bit better together on something we've been talking about for a long time. Okay, moving on to 9.4. No, I'm sorry, 9.3. Recent trail walks and the upcoming events. So we did have a very good event with Radnor Township and moving in there. Lisa Borowski came. We had a pretty good group and we walked the Radnor Trail, which was an old rails to trails type situation. So we were trying to use that as an opportunity to educate and talk about the fact that we have our own proposed thing in our overall plan that kind of fell on its face recently with the feasibility study, but obviously trying to make people understand of the benefits of it. So that was the whole intention. So Terry, I mean, you can go into more detail, but it was definitely very good. I was very happy that I came. My kids enjoyed it.
Yeah, that was on September 21st. Started at 9:30 and we had a terrific tour of the Wayne Arts Center about a mile up into it. And they had the executive director and the chair of the board, both there to show us all around, which was really gracious of them. And I think it made a good impression on all the visitors from the meetup too. We got some really good feedback there. So that
Yeah,
was-
some a little bit like extra, like with that. I mean, I didn't realize I didn't realize how big that place was, and I'd been there before, but that was really cool, like all the different rooms and explanations of the history and how it expanded over the years, so.
It's impressive. It's very impressive. So that walk, yeah, was 4.2 miles total. Some people left, which is fine. And then our next walk is on October 19th, which will be at Garrett Williamson's Harvest Festival. And we'll have two walks, one at 12:30, one at 1:30. So we don't get in ahead of the game. So everybody who attends the walk will have to pay the $15 to get into the Harvest Fest. And I don't know, I haven't even posted it yet because schedule's just been crazy, but I don't know if anybody's gonna plan to be there or do the walk.
Yes, I was planning on going. I know you said you needed some volunteers for that,
Yes,
so
please.
I'm pretty sure.
If you're volunteering,
Yeah.
you don't have to pay.
No, I'm definitely in. Yes,
Okay.
I'll be
cool.
there.
Okay,
Yeah, the Garrett Williamson hikes and their fall, I mean, their Harvest Festival is really cool to begin with. And then obviously
Saturday the 19th.
Saturday the 19th. What time, Terry?
pardon me?
What time?
It starts at 11 and it has hay rides and music and pumpkin decorating, barn animal tours, straw maze, garden activities, nature hikes, bounce houses, food, all sorts, on and on. It starts at 11, it goes till 3. Our walks are at 12:30 and 1:30. So,
12:30 and 1:30?
yeah, I have to make sure that we have enough people signed up from the meetup though, because I don't want to get, that's the other thing with these walks at Garrett Williamson. There's so much to do that people at 12:30 and 1:30 are over by the barn and playing with the this and that. And to stop them and to go for a walk, it's a little, distracting for them. So I'm just giving you a heads up that it might not be as many people as you would expect going on these walks.
I'm trying to convince Garrett to come help.
Oh, that.
Fingers crossed I can get him, but he's 16, so.
16-year-old, he's
Yeah.
got stuff to do.
Sorry, was there another trail walk plan for the 12th or is that not
That's the
happening?
bird walk. I can't, if you definitely can run that and go with it, that's the bird walk at
It's at
Garrett
8
Williams.
a.m.
Yes,
Yeah, I can do that one.
brilliant.
I can't do
Brilliant.
the 19th, but I can do the 12th.
So that's the 12th, yeah. So I'll be out of town. That's why I can't do that at all. But sure. let me
Is it that like officially an EAC thing or?
It's yeah, you gotta sign up through, but no, you don't, we don't have to because we're allowed to run it separately, not be part of the bird walk, be going the opposite direction, but you can join it if they don't have up to 60 people,
That's at 8:30?
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock, I'm sorry. Okay, so the 12th at 8 is the bird walk thing and we're able to do.
Over 12.
I may be able to join you. I got like 2 things later that day, but if it's that early, it might not be a problem for me. So I'm gonna see if I can come join.
Yeah, that's the only reason I can do it because it's early.
Yeah, that's helpful. Like if they were flipped around, I wouldn't be able to make
Well, let
the
me,
other one. So that's good.
let me ask you when we can, do you want me to just post it and make you the lead?
Please,
Okay.
thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then you are gonna be at the 19th one.
I will be at the
Oh,
19th. yeah.
Okay, Joe? Right.
Oop. Oh, that's wonderful. You're coming to the Harvest Fest? Oh, brilliant.
All right.
And Evan, if you need, for the 12th, if you guys aren't familiar with the trails or anything like that.
Never been there before.
Okay.
Oh, you haven't?
I can, maybe we can work something out where we can, I'll have to ask Carol to see
There
if we
was,
can go over
there
there and
was
talk,
a
but
trail map markup that we gave the one time.
There was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that was
Pretty good.
a while ago.
And it's on, I think they're on all trails too.
Ooh, I would be suspicious
So,
of that,
all
but.
right, I'm saying.
But.
It's really not that, I mean, I've done I've done a couple of the different loops. I mean, it's not that hard
If
to
you
like
go uphill, you're
navigate.
heading towards the mansion. If you go downhill, you're heading towards either Preston Run or Crum Creek.
It's
But
pretty easy to like work your way back around the way it loops. So even if you're not quite on the right spot, it's not that bad.
So it's even on the website of the township. If you just Google Garrett Williamson Bird Walk, it comes up on the Newtown Township website. So I'll just be pulling stuff from there. And these guys if you can go with these guys, they're brilliant.
You are.
They're just brilliant. Mike McGraw and Phil Whitmer. Really brilliant.
They can give you the Latin names of everything.
Yeah, they can hear it and tell you what's sitting in the tree.
Pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so good. So we've got two then this month. We just had a good one in September here with Radnor Trail. And then I don't think there's anything currently planned beyond that, but we'll obviously meet again early next month and see if there's anything that we can pull together. So
Good. Maybe at the Meadows, if you've got the signs up in November. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see.
okay. All right, sounds good. Any other questions or comments on the trail walks and upcoming events? Okay. All right, moving forward, 9.4, update discussion possible action on the official town map, the final draft. So we talked about this the last meeting. Made sure that they attached the copy of the draft that had gone already through, a couple of the committee members anyways in the past. I know the links, there's something weird with a couple of them, but the properties are still identified, all the major specs and everything that were on there. So I don't know, I guess I'll really leave it up to what other additional questions we had. Last month was kind of a crazy meeting where we didn't really get to go over any of it in any detail. So I don't know if there's any additional spots. We did talk about it over the last couple meetings. But are there any comments, questions on the official town map draft that we are planning to vote on and give towards the Board of Supervisors? No, Terry? No? Okay. So then all those in favor of approving the draft? Sorry, do I hear a motion? Thank you. Procedural stuff. Do I hear a motion to vote on putting this forward to the Board of Supervisors? Motion? Seconded by Joe Falcon. All those in favor of approving the official town map draft to submit to the Board of Supervisors, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Hearing no opposed. Motion passes, and we will send that off now as it is to the Board of Supervisors for the next meeting. Okay. That brings us out of new business onto old business. So just so you guys are aware, most of this stuff I just put in there as like a constant reminder thing for 10.2, right? 10.1. This is hopefully going to be something that we pull off the list soon as we get good updates. So how are we doing, sir, with the parking lot at the Meadows Preserve?
Sure. So
Bless you.
the parking spaces that were built out of the stone have been completed. The accessible parking space next to it is laid out, but the asphalt hasn't been put down on it yet. There's a connection from that parking area over to the trails going into the into the meadow, as well as linking back over to the Listener Trail. Staff are in the process now of building the more formal sidewalk that connects over to the Listener Trail portion
Okay,
and removing the asphalt that is where cars used to park, closer to the dwellings in the Listener community.
yeah, making sure then that they are using the correct location, so we keep our neighbors with Listener happy about the arrangement.
Quite so.
That makes
So
sense.
the PennDOT permit for the improvements on 252, where the entrance and exit onto the property are, is imminent. The township engineer has been working on that. We have priced out the materials that we need to procure when that permit is issued, which are the bollards and the quick curb, they call it. Again, for the purposes of ensuring that someone going north on 252 doesn't make a left into the property, and ensuring that somebody coming out of the property doesn't make a left.
So essentially then you're gonna go Newtown Street Road under the circle part, come around to make the
And pull
proper
in that
right.
way.
Okay,
And when you leave, you need to make a right. So those are PennDOT's requirements. As soon as we get the permit, we'll put in the facilities to ensure that with the quick curb, we'll be installing that. And at that point, we'll be able to promulgate the parking
is
space.
there currently a sign directing people towards the school where there's a post where we can almost have just a simple Newtown Meadows lot this way so that people know to follow, right?
Episcopal property.
No, not that. I'm saying if you're on 252 going north, I'm wondering if, so that people don't try to do something weird going into that one part of Episcopal. I was just curious. I know, but to make PennDOT happy and just get it done and get it approved.
Yeah, I don't know if PennDOT was reached out to about signage. I'll have to
Okay.
find out and we'll get back to you.
All right, that's good. Yeah. Country's most expensive turnpike crossing, right? Although technically PennDOT and Turnpike Commission are different, but yeah. Okay. All right, well, good. Thank you for the update, sir. So again, the next one, this is just that same thing, that monthly review of the plan, but now that we've gone through the plan so much, these are, as we said, these are where we're in these steps. We're kind of already engaged in, 3 of the steps here, and we're kind of on the cusp of pushing towards the others on some of these items. So I'm just basically putting this in here in case we do have a meeting, depending upon the speed and efficiency and timing of the meeting, in which we could go back into that, ask more questions, or maybe update on some other things that we forgot to cover. But essentially, that's just a plug in there to make sure that we don't forget about the sequence of major steps that we have to go through to be able to achieve our goals here, getting walkability, preserving the green spaces, and getting us staying on course for all that kind of stuff. Really just a reminder thing. And then the 10.3, the budget thing, I don't know where we are, sir. We haven't heard back. The main thing is, we know we just talked about the graphic design, trailhead sign. So that's now in our court now, that we've got to continue. It looks like Evan's going to give some contact to Beth to follow up on the graphic design. On the meetup group, though, is there anything we could do to speed it up? It's such a small dollar amount to be able, Terry's been covering now for the past 3+ years on the meetup account thing.
I think we have money in our, that have been allocated to our committee anyway.
No,
Can we put in?
no, the last I heard is that for them to somehow give that, the account had to be taken over by the township or something, which is like, well, how are they gonna run it? We can't, even simple.
No, I'm
stuff.
just saying, I think we have monies that are allocated to this committee. I think, is there a basic, at least $500?
Well, are we
I thought-
talking about this current fiscal year, or are we talking about 2025?
No, current fiscal year, I think do we have money in our budget?
I have to ask Steve. I apologize. I don't
I've
know the
asked
answer.
before and the answer was like, we did the request the last 2 years in a row. And I've never gotten an update on, yes, this is approved or that's not approved, or here's how much money. It was always, well, when you get specifics, and the only real specific thing where we absolutely know the cost and we are incurring the cost every year is the meetup group membership fee, which was how much, $100 or $200 max? 120. Every 6 months. So it's $200 some
$240,
yeah, every year. That's the only known cost, so I just, you know,
So you'd like an update on the meetup costs?
specifically that, I mean, we know that
Okay.
there's more work that we have to do here. We're hoping to get some plug number on next year's budget for the signs, obviously, especially to be able to deal with this first step of the graphic design. But this is such a relatively small cost, it doesn't make sense why that can't be an annual thing. As Joe said, I mean, we spend no money in this committee.
Yeah, the only thing is when's the budget getting approved? Is that November or is that end of October?
So I don't think it's even been presented at this point.
Okay.
I know Steve is still in the process of consolidating all the requests from all the committees. So that has not been rolled in yet.
Okay.
As I understand, you had made your request to Steve already?
Yes.
Okay, so then,
Oh, okay.
we will be meeting about them, as part of that whole roll-up process. And I'll make sure that, Trails and Greenways are on that agenda.
Yeah, and if I need to, what I'll do is I'll send another simple email that, hey, you know, it's a recurring $126 every 6 months, and we'd like for the committee to be able to maintain this vital service that gets this trail walks possible and engage in the community. And then if we want, we can always throw in the preliminary numbers that we have that Beth's already done research on right now as a placeholder for the trail work or the sign work for next year. So if we put in that number that we know is below the threshold now, knowing that we want to spend money on some of the signs next year, it's very conceivable we could get a design of a sign, and then the township can decide just how many we're ultimately going to order that keeps us in that ballpark. So if we put in the $9 grand for trails, signs, and we put in the $126 every 6 months, I could always send another request email that way.
So do that if you could. Specifically, I can't speak as to the meetup because I wouldn't have any line item that would cover something like that. With regard to the park signs, though, the reason I'm interested in making sure that we try to get at least a couple samples started for this year is in my public works budget, there's some line items that I could make an argument that could fall under. So I want to make sure that now that research has been done and you kind of have something started, if we can get one or two of them, you know, maybe it's not all five right now because then I'd be running into some challenge.
Sure.
But if we can get one or two going, I can find the way, whether it be under Trails and Greenways allocated funds or whether it be under the Public Works Park or Meadow Preserve funding that I have for maintenance, I can make the argument that we could get those couple
That would be
samples
helpful.
done.
Okay. Good. All right, thank you. That's it on that. No additional business. Do I hear any additional comments from our board? No comments from our board? Any additional public comments, sir? Thank you for joining us. What's your name, by the way? Don? Thank you for joining us. Appreciate it. Do I hear a motion to adjourn? Motion by Joe Falcon, seconded by Evan Pappas. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye. 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 Which passes, we're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.